Have you ever stopped to think about what happens when even the brightest, most powerful, and respected mind of a generation simply fades away? Well, that's exactly what we witnessed in Logan when Professor Charles Xavier met his end. It wasn't just the death of a beloved character. It was the farewell of one of the pillars of the one who carried not only power, but also hope. Charles Xavier was always much more than a powerful mutant. He was the guide, the teacher, the father to so many who found in his school a home. Since his first appearance in the comics, Xavier represented the bridge between two worlds, ordinary humanity and the rejected mutants. But in Logan, we saw the brutal contrast of this figure who once symbolized strength and wisdom, now weakened by age and by a mind that could no longer bear the weight of its own power. Just imagine the man who could read thoughts, who controlled minds, who inspired millions, now suffering from memory lapses, fits of confusion, and involuntary attacks that turned his gifts into threats. The scene where Xavier suffers those telepathic seizures, paralyzing everyone around, is a painful portrait. The most powerful mind on the planet becoming a prison, what was once a gift had now become a curse. And the saddest part is that even in the face of this decline, Xavier never lost his humanity. He kept trying to teach, kept trying to care for Logan and Laura. The dinner with that farming family shows this perfectly. For a few moments, Charles is once again the warm, smiling teacher who dreamed of a better world. It's as if the film gave us a living farewell before the definitive one. But tragedy strikes brutally. Xavier is deceived, attacked, and killed suddenly. Without glory, without preparation, without warning. The man who had always guided everyone with words and vision dies without even fully understanding what was happening. And that's what cuts the deepest. It wasn't an epic battle against Magneto. It wasn't a sacrifice to save the world. It was the simple, cruel end of a man who no longer had strength. A reminder that even heroes are mortal. And here lies the weight of this scene. Watching Xavier fall is like seeing the flame of hope extinguish. Logan, who had always been the rebel, the difficult student, now finds himself alone, without teacher, without guide, forced to take on a role he never wanted. It is almost as if Charles' death was the final push for Logan to finally understand his own destiny. And since we're talking about emotion, depth, and what completely surrounds us, back to the film, the impact of the professor's death isn't just on Logan or Laura, but on us, the viewers. Because Xavier always symbolized the ideal of coexistence, of acceptance, of believing in the best of humanity, even in the face of prejudice and violence. When he goes, we feel that this dream is threatened too. The world of mutants never felt so lonely, so empty. And what makes it even more striking is the contrast. Charles Xavier, who began his journey with the X-Men as the wise mentor, ends his life as a fragile man, fighting against himself, needing care, the cycle of life shown in its rawest form. The student caring for the teacher, the invincible becoming vulnerable, the perfect mind unraveling in the old age. A reminder that even the greatest cannot escape time. In the end, Xavier's death isn't just a loss. It's a passing of the torch. Logan must become what Charles always believed he could be. A hero, not just a soldier, and Laura, the Lidox 23, is living proof that Xavier sees ideals Gigini die with him. That even when extinguished, the flame can be reborn in another generation. The farewell of Charles Xavier and Logan was a scene that left fans in silence, with their throats tight, because it wasn't just a character who died, it was the farewell of an entire era, of a vision, of a symbol. It was the end of a mind that guided, inspired, and protected, and that, in the end, finally rested. But the question that echoes in every fan's heart remains: if even the most powerful mind in the world can fade away, who will truly carry Xavier's dream forward?